India, and depending on whichever time you are watching, either good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Okay, so until things come back to normal, we will be doing our classes in this way, where we will be completing our past papers online, and certain questions I'll be giving it to you as homework, where you will have to do it on your own and take a photo of the work that you have completed, and then thereafter you'll be sending that through WhatsApp to me. Okay, anyway, I'll be giving you more instructions on how the homework will be done. So for the moment, as planned, we'll be doing the 2016 GCSE, which is the UK paper. Have already mailed you all the papers. So what I'll be doing is, as we discussed in our previous class, question number 1 will be done entirely by Marshall, but since we are going to be doing it online, all of y'all, question number 1 is your homework. Details on how the homework is going to be submitted, I'll be telling you at the end of this video. So I'll be skipping question number 1 and moving straight onto question number 2. Okay, so basically what's going to happen is I'm going to read the question and I'm going to explain the answer to you. At the same time, I'm going to type the answer in Notepad. Okay, so if you do know the answer and if you're okay with it, you can just skip that part and move on to the next question. Okay, you need to watch the whole thing. Okay, so learn at your own pace. Okay, so coming up to the second question, it goes on to say, the nursery organized a trip for the children and email is sent to the parents. List 3 personal digital devices that parents could use to receive the email. So it's a simple question. They're asking me of 3 personal digital devices that parents could use to receive the email. And almost every digital device, almost any digital device with a connection to the internet can be used in order to receive the email. So for example, you can talk about a laptop. Then you can go on to talk about a smartphone. Better not mention mobile phone, better to say smartphone, because a smartphone has access to the internet. And you can also go on to mention a tablet. Okay, there are so many other answers you can mention. When it comes to personal digital devices, you can talk about netbooks, you can talk about notebooks, you can talk about phablets, you can talk about desktop PC. Okay, so they've just asked for 3 and you can mention these 3. Okay, so that's the answer for the first one. Moving on to the next question. It goes on to say the POP3 protocol deletes emails from the server after delivery to a device. So we all know what protocol means. A protocol is a set of rules that have to be followed on the internet. So we have learnt of various protocols. We have learnt of protocols like IMAP. We have learnt of protocols called what we call HTTP. We have learnt protocols called IP. So protocols basically define how various services on the internet should be functioning. We have learnt of something called SMTP. Okay, so name the protocol that keeps a copy of each email on the server. So the protocol that is used to store an email on the server is something which we call IMAP. Okay, is something which we call IMAP, Internet Message Access Protocol. So this particular protocol is used to keep a copy of each email on the server. So just explaining this question further, for example, if they ask you what is the protocol that is used to name a device on the network, you will be mentioning IP. If they, for example, ask you what is the protocol that is used in order to define the rules of how a web server and a computer communicate with each other, is basically how to load a website, the protocol HTTP is used. How to load a secure website, for example, we use the protocol HTTPS. Okay, so in this particular question, they're asking you of how what's the name of the protocol that keeps a copy of each email on the server. It is something which we call IMAP, Internet Message Access Protocol. Okay, moving on to the third question. Sorry, there's no third question. Moving on to question B. It goes on to say the email contains a hyperlink to a web page. The nursery staff collaborate to create the web page. Which one of these would it be best for them to use? Okay, so we have a blog, we have a forum, we have RSS, and we have a wiki. So they want to work collaboratively. So they're asking which of these would be the best. So when it comes to working collaboratively, I think the answer would be a wiki, isn't it? They could all upload their information onto one place. Okay, so let's just have a quick look at the marking scheme if the answer is wiki. We are in question number 2. Answer is wiki. Okay, so we will be using a wiki. A wiki is basically a place where you can upload information And you can also assign somebody to check that information, which we call a moderator. You can also have an admin, okay, who can manage the entire thing. So for example, if you take Wikipedia as an example, on Wikipedia, everyone is free to mention whatever they want. But for each thing that you upload, there is somebody which we call a moderator. A moderator is a person who checks the information, makes sure that the information is accurate, it is up to date. Okay, so as to make sure that there is no inaccurate information being published. Okay, so over here the best answer is going to be a wiki. Okay, then moving on to question number C. The web page includes a section for parents with details of future trips. Okay, explain why the nursery also provides leaflets with the same information. So they're telling us that they do have a web page which talks about the future trips, but also at the same time they provide leaflets with the same information to parents. They're asking, why do we also need to provide leaflets? So the best answer here would be that not everyone would be having access to the internet. Not everybody knows how to access the internet. So it is important also to be providing them with a leaflet. So we can very simply go on to say, not all parents may have access to the internet, or not all of them would know how to use. We could just say not all of them would be IT literate. So it's important. So in order to inform this set of parents, leaflets could be used. Okay, so the leaflet could be used basically for parents who do not have access to the internet, or who do not know how to use the internet or how to use digital devices. Okay, so make sure the word goes as explained. So you just cannot mention the point, you also have to come back to the question. Okay, so then moving on to question number D, it goes on to say, the email includes payment information. When parents pay online, data is sent through a web browser. Which one of these reduces the security risks to data? Okay, so when parents pay online, the data is being sent through the web browser. So bookmark, it cannot be. Digital certificate, yes. If a website does have a digital certificate, it means that they have proper security systems in their website to make sure that the customer's information is going to be kept confidential. Okay, so they might be using encryption or something else. But if they do have a digital certificate, it proves that the information that is being transmitted inside the website is secure and it is being maintained confidentially. Okay, RSS cannot be. SMTP is just a protocol. Okay, so the answer is going to be B, digital certificate. Moving on to the next question, it goes on to say, state one benefit to the nursery of using a third-party payment system. So when we say third-party payment system, what we mean is we mean a payment system that is being given to us by another company. So the question very simply says state, it doesn't ask you to explain, so you can just simply write the benefit. So if a school is to have a payment system on their website, and it is not going to be their own payment system, instead it's going to be another company's payment system. So do you think the school is going to have to employ people to maintain their payment system? No. Very simply, the company that is providing it to them, they will have to, they will have to have people to maintain the system. The school instead will just be paying a monthly rental, or maybe paying a commission for using their payment system. Okay, so we can very simply go on to say, the school will not have to hire employees. We can say the school will not have to pay large sums of money to employees to maintain the payment system. Instead, they could just pay a monthly rental or a commission based amount to the company that provides them with the payment system. Okay, so when they get a third-party payment system, the school does not have to worry about if the system is working properly, is the customer's information confidential. Do we know how, do we have the right employees to run the system? They don't have to worry about all that because another company is doing all that for them. Okay, they just have to pay the company a monthly rental or a commission based on how much they earn each month. Okay, moving on to the next question. It says list 3 card details required when paying online using a bank card. So when you go online and you want to make a transaction online using your card, there is certain information that you will be asked to fill. So one of them is it will ask you name of card holder. That is for sure one thing. You have to put the name of the card holder. Then it's going to ask you your card number. Then it's going to be asking you for something which we call CVV. CVV is basically a 3-digit number that is at the behind of your credit card or debit card. Then it's also going to ask you for your date of expiry, okay, which basically means when is your card expiring. Yeah, so they're asking only for 3, so you can mention any 3 of this information: name of card holder, the card number, CVV, and date of expiry. Then moving on to the next question, it goes on to say parents can pay at the nursery using NFC, near field communication. Which one of these is a security risk associated with the use of NFC? Okay, so we all do know how NFC works. It generally happens between a mobile phone and a credit card machine, okay, where you have to keep your mobile phone very close to the credit card reader, and then the amount can be transferred, or sometimes it can happen between 2 mobile devices as well. I have given you an example. A company called Freeme in Sri Lanka, for example, is using it. So instead of you carrying money in your wallet, what you do is you just deposit the money in your Freeme bank account, and then you just take your mobile phone around with you, and when you want to make a payment, you open your Freeme app, you type in the amount that has to be paid, and then you just keep your phone next to the cashier's phone or the cashier's credit card reader. The amount will be transferred. Okay, so over here the question goes as, which one of these is a security risk associated with the use of NFC? Strangers will know where you are. Not exactly. Hackers can change the NFC password. Let's keep this for a moment. No PIN is required to make a payment. The account number is visible to anyone. So if you take the answer D, the account number is visible to anyone, is no big deal. Whether your account number is visible or not, it's not a problem. Okay, so the answer D cannot be, the answer A cannot be. Hackers can change the NFC password. That's what B says. Now generally there is no password when it comes to a transaction. You basically keep both the phones next to each other. You keep your phone and the credit card reader next to each other, and then the payment takes place. There is no such thing as a password being entered. Okay, so answer B also cannot be. The answer is C. No PIN is required to make a payment. Okay, both devices just have to be next to each other, and then the transferring can take place. Okay, so the answer is C, that there is no PIN required to make a payment. Moving on to the next question. We are going slightly fast, I do realize that, but do understand if there are questions which you can do on your own, you can skip that particular part of the video, and you can come to the parts where you are having difficulty in. When you come to the next question, it goes on to say, give one feature of NFC payment systems that reduces the security risk to data. So they're asking us for one feature that NFC payment systems do offer. So this is question number E, part 2. They're asking us a feature of NFC payment systems that reduces the security risk to data. So one thing that NFC offers is that the transaction amount that can be transferred, the amount that you can transfer in one transaction, is very limited. Okay, so if somebody is to steal money from your mobile phone, it is a very limited amount that they can take. Okay, it's generally not a very big amount, nor is it a very small amount, somewhere in between. So you can go on to say that the amount that can be transferred in a transaction is limited. Okay, so they have just told us to give one feature. So this is one feature that can be mentioned. Okay, the transaction amount is limited. Okay, so a huge amount cannot be transferred in one transaction. So that's the end of question number 2. Okay, then moving on to question number 3. It goes on to say that Laura and Pete are parents of a child who attends the nursery. The nursery uses photoblogging to share photographs of trips with parents. explain one advantage. Okay, you're supposed to explain one advantage of using photo blogging rather than email to share photos. Okay, so all of y'all, I do hope you all understand what we mean by photo blogging. Now we all do know what blogging means. Okay, so for example, if I say I am a blogger, it basically means I have a website on the internet, or I have a blog on the internet where I upload information of my experiences or information about myself. Okay, so for example, I can be a traveler and I can have my own blog on the internet. Okay, it could just be a web page, or it could be a website of my own, or it could be a place which offers the feature for other people to blog, right? It's a website which has separate web pages for each blogger. So I can go over there, create an account, have my own blog, and on the blog I can say, for example, various places I have traveled. I can put pictures of the places I have traveled. I can mention what happened there, my experience over there. Okay, so we call that blogging. The exact definition of blogging is basically a diary that is, you can say a personal diary that is maintained on the internet, which allows the public to, the public is allowed to view. Okay, so just like that, we also have something called photo blogging. So instead of using text, you use only photos to describe your experience, to describe what you want to say. Use photos. Okay, so the nursery uses photo blogging to share photographs of trips with parents. Okay, so when the nursery goes for trips, they do have a web page where they upload all the photographs, and parents can view those photographs to see what has happened on the trip. So they ask us explain one advantage of using photo blogging rather than email to share photos. So if we think about it, if I was to use email, can I upload an unlimited number of photographs? No. Generally, when it comes to email, you are limited to only 25 MB of photographs per email. I mean, only 25 MB of data can be sent in one email. So if you want to send all the photographs, you may have to send multiple emails to the parents. The next thing is, if you are going to use photo blogging, you can upload the photograph, and you can also allow people to comment on each of the photographs, isn't it? But if it comes to email, commenting features, liking feature, all that is not possible. Okay, so let's go on to explain our answer. We can say using photo blogging, and we can say using photo blogging, features such as commenting and liking, you can just say commenting / tagging and liking can be made use of, which is not available in email. Okay, so you can say if you use photo blogging, these features can be made use of, but it is not available in email. You can also talk about the fact that email has a limited limited amount of photos that can be sent in each email. Generally, it is 25 MB. You can send only a maximum of 25 MB of data, but in photo blogging, you can upload an unlimited number of photographs. Okay, so this is my answer. If you just check the marking scheme, let's see if the marking scheme has any other different answers. Yep, it has a huge range of answers. It says users can comment, which we did speak about. Less data is used sharing them because everything is being uploaded to one place. Okay, you're not sending separate emails to each person, so less data is being used up. Incorrect email addresses cannot be used. Okay, photo blogging allows one central location to be accessed, so no need to send them to each recipient. Yes, all the photos are going to be in one location. Everyone can come to them one location and view it, instead of you having to send it to different people. Okay, so over here you can see various other answers as well. Okay, this is the answer I was telling you. Email generally restricts the size of attachments, but when it comes to photo blogging, you are allowed to send as much as you want. You're allowed to upload as much as you want. Then it goes on to ask question number B, describe how photo blogging could create a risk to the children's privacy. So generally when it comes to photo blogging, when it comes to uploading photographs onto the internet, what happens is it is something which can be accessed by everyone. Okay, so generally allowing everybody see children's pictures can be misused by certain people. Okay, so what we can go on to say is we can go on to say part B, since you can say when the photographs are uploaded to a blog which can be accessed by the public. Okay, the photos can be misused by those with bad intentions. Okay, it can be used the photos can be misused by those with bad intentions, which can be accessed to a blog which can be accessed by the public. The photos can be used by those with bad intentions, and also may give information to strangers, such as the children's school and location of the school. Okay, so people with bad intentions, when they do look at these photographs, they can immediately understand which school this child goes to, where is this school located, places the children have visited. Okay, so it becomes a bit dangerous. Okay, so and the main reason is because photoblogging is something which can be accessed by the public. Okay, where this question number C, it says give 2 actions the nursery should take to reduce the risk to the children's privacy before uploading photographs. So they are asking, before uploading the photographs, what can the schools do to make sure that the children's privacy is maintained? So, for example, we can say do not mention the location. That is one thing. Do not mention the location where the photographs were taken or when it was taken. Something else we could say, blur the faces of the children. Okay, so you can upload the photographs, but make sure their faces are blurred so that people with bad intentions will not be able to use the photograph, nor will be able to know exactly who is in these photographs. Okay, blur the faces of the children. Then you can also say do not upload high quality pictures of an individual child in a photograph. Instead, try to use group photographs. Okay, photographs. Okay, if you upload a picture of one person, if you upload a picture of just one person and the picture is in high quality, it gives so many, it opens space for so many things to be done to the photographs. Instead, always use group photographs. That becomes much more difficult to edit or tamper with. Just let's quickly go through the marking scheme as well. It says removing the GPS data, location, all that, get permission from the parents, blur the children's face, that's what we said, choose photos where children's features are unrecognizable or absent. Okay, so these are the various answers that the marking scheme gives, how to protect the children's privacy, things that can be done to protect the children's privacy. Okay. Then question number D, it goes on to say, when Pete visits the photoblog, transactional data is collected. Okay, so we all know transactional data is basically anything that happens on the internet. Okay, when information is sent from one computer to another computer, that is called a transaction. Okay, so when Pete visits this particular photoblog, transactional data is collected. Okay, so transactional data meaning when he visits the website, information about his whatever he does on the website is being collected, is being stored. Which one of these can be used to collect transactional data? So we all know that the feature that is used to collect transactional data, the feature that is used to record what you do on a particular website, is what we call cookies. Okay, so cookies keep track of what you do online. Okay. Then moving on to the next question, it goes on to say, give 2 examples of transactional data the nursery could collect. Okay, so when you go to a particular website, what kind of information would the cookies be collecting of you? So in this case, we are supposed to be talking about 2 examples of transactional data the nursery could collect. So we are right now dealing with question number D, part 2. Okay, so question number D, and then we're going to part 2. So 2 examples of transactions that the nursery could collect. One would be the IP address of the user. IP address of the user. Next, it could go on to say photographs viewed by the user. Then maybe, for example, buttons clicked by the user. Then something else could be maybe the date and / time the user visited the photo blog. Okay, so these are kind of information this is the kind of information that would be recorded when you visit a website. Okay, so let's just have a quick look at the marking scheme. So over here it says your IP address, your location, okay, pages you have visited previously, links that you follow. Okay, so I think our answer is also quite fine. Okay, so this is information that would be recorded by cookies when you visit the website. Moving on to the next question, it goes on to say, give one way that a nursery could use the transactional data they collect from users. So they're asking, they collected all this information. Tell us a way that they could use this information. So this is question number 3. So for example, using the transactional data, the nursery can see which photos have been viewed the most. For example, that's one point. They can see which photo is being viewed the most, or they can see, for example, which album is being viewed the most. For example, is it the trip photos, or is it, for example, the classroom photos, or for example, is it the playground photos? Okay, they can see which category of photos are being viewed the most. Or else they can also say this. It can also keep a record of. You can say they can go on to see after visiting the website. I mean, you can also say this using the transactional data. You can say this is the second point. Using the transactional data. The nursery could also understand how users use the website by checking the links they visit on the website. Okay, so nursery can understand when people come to the website, what are they interested in, what kind of web pages do they visit once they come into the website. Okay, so let's have a quick look at the marking scheme. It goes on to say, yes, analyze which pages or photographs that are clicked or visited, which are the most popular, which are not. Targeted marketing can be done, very nice, and also you can personalize the website for each person. So you find, for example, a person who comes to the website is always going on checking the trip photos. So you can personalize the website that as soon as he comes to the website, the trip photos are the first thing he sees. For example, there's somebody else, as soon as he comes to the website, he goes on to check the classroom pictures. Okay, so you can personalize your website in such a way for that particular user that whenever he comes to the website, good photographs of classroom is only being shown to him. Okay, that's what we call personalization. Then moving on to the next one, it says Pete has a laptop with access to the internet. Laura has a tablet without access to the internet. So could describe one method Pete could use to save an image from the photo blog to Laura's tablet computer. So he's going to be accessing the picture from his laptop, and then he's supposed to be getting into the tablet. So I'm sure all of you already know the answer, but the question goes on to say describe. So we have to give a proper description of what's going to happen. Okay, this is question number E. So in detail we have to mention Pete will have to first save the photo onto his laptop from the photo blog. Okay, so Pete will have to first save the photo onto his laptop from the photo blog. Okay, then he must switch on Bluetooth on his laptop, and Laura should switch on Bluetooth on her tablet. Okay, So once Bluetooth has been switched on both devices should be paired with each other. Once they are paired, the photo from the laptop can be transferred to Laura's tablet. Okay, so please make sure you have a complete description of first how he has to save the photo, then Bluetooth has to be switched on, then both devices have to be paired, and then the photo from the laptop can be transferred to Laura's tablet. Okay, just to be safe, using Bluetooth. Okay. Then it goes on to state 3 implications of lack of access to the internet. So they are saying basically 3 things that would happen due to lack of access to the internet. So when they speak about 3 implications of a lack of access to the internet, what we should be talking about is when people do not have access, when people are unable to access the internet, what will be happening to them. So very simply we can go on to say, for example, one thing is they will not have access to what's happening. You can say, for example, they will not have access to the latest news and information. So you can say poor access to news and information from around the world. Instead, users will have to depend on the information provided by TV channels and radio stations only. Okay, so they will not have information to the entire world. They'll have only information in which the TV station or the radio channel speaks about. Then you can also talk about they will not have access to online shopping. Okay, instead they will have to travel to the store and be able to purchase only goods offered at that particular store. They will not be able to have the goods delivered to their doorstep. Okay, so when they do not have access, they will not have access to online shopping. So instead they'll have to travel to the store and be able to only purchase only goods offered at the particular store. Okay, and they will not be able to have the goods delivered to their doorstep. Okay, they'll have to go there, they'll have to purchase, and they'll be able to only purchase what the store offers, nothing else. Something else that we can also talk about is the fact of we can talk about banking, we can talk about online booking systems. So let's talk, for example, about banking. We can say due to lack of access to the internet, users will not be able to make use of online banking. Instead, they will have to carry physical cash around with them in order to pay bills, and for other shopping purposes. Okay, so due to lack of access to internet, users will not be able to make use of online banking. Instead, they'll have to carry physical cash around with them. Okay, so if you do have a bank account, if you do have access to internet, you can just stay at home, purchase your goods, do the transfer online. Or for example, you can pay your utility bills online by just staying at home. You don't have to travel all the way to the water board, electricity board, and stay in a queue and make a payment. You can just do it at home on your mobile phone. Okay, so that's the end of question number 3. I'll be stopping the video for now. And in part 2, we'll be doing the rest of the questions.